No matter how much you optimize your routine or how talented you are, life eventually delivers a hit you didn't see coming. You get broken. When that happens, you find yourself trapped in a disorienting cognitive valley. The dust hasn't settled, but you immediately have to make a choice about how your brain is going to process the damage. This diagram maps exactly what happens next. At the top is the inevitable break, a sudden health crisis, financial collapse, or relational split. The moment this hits, your brain scrambles to route the trauma. The first path is your biological default. As gravity pulls you down, your mind generates panic, fixates on grievances, and looks for blame. But there is a second, highly counterintuitive path. This requires forcing your brain to process the trauma uphill. Instead of panicking, you deliberately choose to route the shock through a lens of wisdom, gratitude, and faith. We need to look past the cliches and evaluate why choosing that upward path is the most effective strategy for survival. Your perspective during a crisis is not a passive emotional state. It is an active, tactical lever that dictates exactly how your brain allocates its remaining resources. Some of you are dealing with an acute crisis right now. You just received a terrifying health diagnosis, or you lost your job this morning. The disruption is sudden and massive. For you, minimizing worry is a strictly operational requirement. You have to preserve your executive function so you can make rapid, accurate decisions in real time. Others are grinding through chronic attrition. You are in year 3 of a failing business or stuck in a relentless, multi-year academic struggle. If that is your reality, cultivating gratitude and faith operates as an energy management strategy. It is the only way to prevent total cognitive burnout over a long timeline. Whether you are facing a sudden explosion or a slow, grinding leak, deploying the wrong cognitive framework guarantees you will fail to fix the problem. Let's examine that default downward path, the worry and blame protocol. It is highly seductive because it operates with almost zero friction when you are damaged. If we map this protocol out on a matrix, the required input is focused entirely on externalizing the fault. You fixate on the unfairness of the situation and immediately transfer the responsibility to external forces. The immediate outcome provides a temporary, numbing comfort. By deciding the break isn't your fault, you absolve yourself of the responsibility to actually fix it. But the trade-off is severe. This false comfort completely drains your problem-solving capacity. It paralyzes your agency and halts all forward momentum. Every second you spend operating in this state ensures that the break leaves a permanent mark of defeat on your trajectory. The worry and blame protocol is essentially a cognitive payday loan. It offers immediate emotional relief today at the severe cost of your future survival. The alternative is the faith and wisdom protocol. This is high friction. It does not boot up automatically. You have to manually force it online. Looking back at the matrix, the required input here is an internal motivation anchor. You have to actively search for a deeply personal reason to keep moving, whether that is your family, your legacy, or simply a refusal to quit. The mechanical outcome of this choice forcefully shifts your brain out of passive victimhood and drops it into a state of aggressive, hyperactive resourcefulness. The trade-off is extreme short-term psychological friction. Operating this way strips away all your emotional safety nets and requires you to confront terrifying realities head-on. Choosing faith does not stop the pain of the break. Instead, it uses that pain as the actual fuel required to keep your mind engaged in the fight. It is a costly, exhausting investment of mental energy, but it is the only mechanism capable of keeping you in the arena. When you stay in the arena, you trigger the adaptation multiplier. This is the biological reality that enduring a breaking point forces the human system to upgrade itself. By choosing to view a crisis as a test of your limits rather than an unfair punishment, you signal your brain to adapt. You get smarter, you get faster, and you become more emotionally stable. Staying in the fight takes a massive physical toll. You are actively pushing forward against intense, invisible external resistance. As this graphic outlines, succeeding here requires relying on the independent variable of willpower. This means completely decoupling your actions from your currently available resources. You make an internal commitment to survive, regardless of what the external metrics or bank accounts dictate. Relying on this variable means abandoning all your excuses. If you stop fighting now, the responsibility falls entirely on your shoulders. But by refusing to retreat, the very act of standing your ground converts the energy of that trauma into an upgraded version of yourself. We can now measure these two protocols strictly by the return on investment to determine your optimal strategy. This quadrant chart maps exactly how this plays out. The horizontal axis tracks cognitive effort. The vertical axis measures your likelihood of overcoming adversity. Retreating requires very low effort, but yields zero positive results. Conversely, standing and fighting demands maximum mental energy, guaranteeing success. If you are in an acute crisis right now, your directive is clear. You must ruthlessly cut out all grumbling today to instantly stabilize your cognitive bandwidth. If you are facing chronic attrition, you need to recognize that your long-term stamina is powered entirely by maintaining your perspective, regardless of what your external circumstances look like. As you move through this process, you are essentially reallocating the energy of that trauma into new, functional strength. The crisis itself is a fixed variable. Your future trajectory depends entirely on which operating system you choose to run in its aftermath.